Welcome to a very special, unique version of the Trafford Talk podcast. For the love of God, we've just seen Manchester United beat Man City. It is the wildest thing that has probably happened to this channel. But they only went and did it, beating the Sky Blue Pricks 2-0. The entire fan base is rattled with excitement and satisfaction while we willow and enjoy the tears of Man City fans all over the place. But really, that's the only time I'm going to be snobby this evening, I promise you. But as always, this is a massive result for United in the context of the season for what could be or what may be the end of our season. Who knows? It could be good and bad. We won at the cost of losing Marcus Rashford. We won despite Man City blundering our goal. But the fact of the matter is today, we are the worthy owners of the city of Manchester. It's red and will certainly always be bloody red. And that will never change. Still pent up with like little happiness and anger at the same time. But we'll get into it. This is a unique review, though. We don't have the usual trio. This evening, it's all about every single one of you. Out there right now on our Twitter is our StreamYard link. If you get into the show, I will pick a few of you at random after we speak to our regular host/guests. So that's Alexi and Perry. I hope to see him come on today. They will give you their thoughts on the game, and then I bring you all in to get involved in the show with your thoughts, your grievances on the match, the performance in general. We are also inviting away fans, this opposition. It felt like an away game, I should say. City fans are welcome too, so that they can voice their concerns about today's game. It's the end of their 21-match winning run as well. So Manchester United have just done the incredible to extend their away record, unbeaten in the Premier League, but also to end the Manchester City run. Great result. Fantastic performance today. I want to hear also from you. If you can't join us on the show, the comment section is available to you. I want you to add your thoughts. I want you to ask questions to us and give us thoughts that you may have on the game. And of course, the performances, especially of Luke Shaw, Anthony Martial, and Dean Henderson today, it was a team performance, but it was impeccable from back to front. And credit where credit's due to everyone. So as always, hit the like, subscribe if you want more of this. We're going to keep doing this now till the end of the season. And if you're on Twitter, follow us and share this stream around too. So first guest is Alexi. You keep patiently waiting. And here he is, the humble man that he is. We spoke the other day, Alexi, before this evening, literally killing ourselves with nervousness. But here we are. We've beaten them. And we're literally in dreamland right now. I can't even think of my English. It's gone. It's gone, mate. You know How are you feeling?
I've just hit my mic in my enthusiasm. I've not felt this happy over a game of football for such a long time because, I think Gary Neville said it perfectly on commentary. He said the Crystal Palace game was 3 days ago, but it feels like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And do you know what the weirdest thing about this is? I kind of saw this coming. We did a preview yesterday on Trafford Talk, and it was me, Cam, and Natalie, and I kind of just said to them, there's no reason for me to think we're going to win based on evidence, but I just think we are going to win. And also other things came to fruition. Like Dean Henderson's distribution was absolutely incredible. I think it was a big part of one of the goals. And me and you, Ahmed, were talking the review on Wednesday after that really fun Palace game. And we were saying, both of us were saying, if we were Ollie right now, we'd be sitting the team down and telling them, very simple, coaching staff, players, team, all of you get in. We have to start games quick. We have to. Because our biggest results this season, or maybe not biggest, but best games were, I'd say, probably Southampton and Leeds before this. In both of them, we scored or something happened pretty much straight away. And in this, honestly, I watched it with my friend because because I live in uni accommodation, so I'm quite lucky I can watch the game with my friends and stuff. So obviously we're in the same household and everything. And we kind of sat down. I literally sat down and we were just kind of having, a brief little chat. And then you look up and there's a penalty. And it's incredible. It was straight from the off. And two things went through my head then. One thing was, okay, VAR's going to get involved here and ruin my life. The second thing was, okay, this is happening. And then we scored it. But for me, what was really encouraging after we scored that penalty was the 10 minutes afterwards was possibly the best Manchester United collective pressing and domination I've seen for so long. Because, make no mistake, we played City off the park. Like we just did. And they'd not lost for 28 games. That's an outrageous amount of games. And we played them off the park. And what was really, really encouraging to me is it was like, okay, I've got to be honest, I was really nervous. When we scored after a minute, you're looking at the clock for 90 minutes. That's what I was doing. I was really nervous. But we just seemed so composed defensively. You know, I thought Dean Henderson deserves a really big shout out because it's not easy to just come into a team out of nowhere when you've not been playing consistently. But he was brilliant. He claimed the high balls. Wan-Bissaka pocketed Sterling again. I mean, that's 4 or 5 times. Sterling hasn't scored in 22 games against Manchester United.
Make that 23.
Harry Maguire, 23 now. Harry Maguire was, I thought he was brilliant. Lindelof, I thought they were brilliant. We've kept clean sheets in our last 3 games, which has gone under the radar. But the person I really want to focus on for a bit is Luke Shaw. 4 months ago, I've got to be honest, I've been proved wrong because I was one of the people who, I didn't dislike Luke Shaw. I thought he was a decent player. But in my head, I thought, you've been here 5 years. Are you going to kick on? And it wasn't looking like he was going to. Tellez comes in and he's obviously worked on the training pitch and he has been out of this world. His runs for, I tweeted yesterday or the day before, I said Luke Shaw is the best fullback in the Premier League. I got laughed at. I've got to be honest, I got laughed at. I stand by it. He, in the biggest game of our season, he turned up and not only was his surging runs forward brilliant, not only was his defensive work brilliant, he even scored. Like, it's incredible. And another one who deserves immense credit is Anthony Martial. You know, he always plays well against City and he's been through such a tough time. And a lot of us have criticised him, myself included, and it's fair because he's not been good, but he was the man of the match. It's quite simple. He was brilliant. He won the penalty. You know, he was making really superb runs. I mean, he could have got a goal when he was in from that, you know, that weird McTominay thing where their player fell over and then, you know, all that. But he was brilliant as well. I thought Marcus Rashford was brilliant. I thought Dan James did a job really well. And I thought we saw the best of McFred. That midfield is why you play McFred. In this kind of game, they were brilliant. Like, there was a few stray passes and stuff, but overall, McFred were absolutely superb. Breaking up the play, getting us forward. And I think the most striking thing about this for me is it wasn't like a game where you go, oh, we won, but they had loads of shots and we're really against it. We could have won 3 or 4-0. It's very feasible. We could have won 3 or 4-0. We had the chances. And yeah, I've got to be honest, I was worried for a lot of the time. I was really nervous. Like, I was sat there literally from minute 1, staring at the clock, like staring at it. But overall,
it didn't take you long to celebrate something, funnily enough. We got the penalty, I think, about 80 seconds into the game, where Jesus bundles into Martial and he wins the spot kick. Never in doubt, of course. And then after scoring the penalty, you are literally, as Alexi, you say, you're staring at the clock now. Because with Manchester City's ability to rip teams apart, they will always give position little thinking room or time to be able to impose themselves on the game. Manchester United, they employed a strategy which you don't often see. They employed the high line. They kept it compact in between the midfield and the defence. They make life difficult for De Bruyne, Gundogan and Rodri to dominate the midfield the way they always seem to do against the mid-table sides or some of the teams who just haven't got the, let's say, the legs to keep up with them. But something McTominay and Fred had today was a lot of stamina. And that sometimes is a miss in this game. Being fit, you must be able to last 90 minutes.
How tired did City look? Honestly,
they looked really...
about 60 minutes. They looked shattered.
Puffed out by 80 or so minutes. They walk games. A lot of the time, they walk matches. They don't hold, like, go all out against opponents. The only times you really see them put a stress on their opponents or anywhere near 100% is if they go out and whip a team 4-0, 5-0. And it's always they look like they've got a lot of energy, but really just going against opposition at a canter. It's a very frustrating thing sometimes to watch when they play against opponents who give their all. The opposition really press them, really stress them out as much as they can. But obviously, by leaving space in behind, it offers them those chances. I always think there's a way to play against them. And Ollie has sussed that out today by saying, here's how you play. Let them have the ball, but don't let them play it in the area where they will be able to work it best to their wingers or to their attacking forwards.
I completely agree with you. And online over the last few days, I've seen a lot of criticism of Ollie. Some of it has been fair. You can criticise him for maybe saying the result should be better. I understand that. That's completely fair. I personally haven't been overly critical of him, but I get other people have different opinions. That's fine. But some of it has been over the top and too much.
Yeah.
And today, once again, he shut a lot of people up, I think. And he's won at the Etihad 3 times in a row. That's outrageous. And
it is incredible.
These games we're talking about, right? It's not only we won. I said on the preview the other day that Etihad game last season was probably the best we've played in the last 7 years. I think this game is up there as well, right? It's not only that we've beaten them. It's not like we've just been under the cosh. We've outplayed them. He's tactically outwitted Pep Guardiola multiple times now. And yet we still see this stuff online that goes, oh, he's just a PE teacher. He's managing off vibes. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Right?
Today they must eat their shoes or hats, whatever, because he's proven them wrong.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is I'm not standing here and saying, oh, you can't criticise Ollie, because I think it's fair sometimes to say the manager could have done this and that. But I just mean the people who completely dismiss everything he does. And ultimately this happens in the media as well and everything like that, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, on his day, can be the best tactician there is around. We know he struggles against slow blocks. We know that. We discussed that the other night. I don't want to go into that again. Tonight, I don't think we anyone's kind of giving him the credit he deserves, because we literally went to a team that are 28 games unbeaten. Obviously, ESPN are calling them the greatest team ever, like they did with Liverpool last season. We outplayed them from start to finish at their home ground. They didn't score. It's incredible management. And, I saw so many people before the game saying, really negative things. And to be fair, I get the pessimism because it wasn't looking likely we'd win. But what I don't like is the blatant dismissal of everything Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does. Because my view on it is you can criticise him when he's doing badly, but at least praise him when he's doing well. And today, he was absolutely superb. He set up so well.
Excellent. Oh.
And he
just because Alexi, we're gonna hurry up now because we need to get our next guest on. I will promise you at some point we'll get you back on for more important matters. But let's quickly go through the end towards our man of the match right now. Between 3. Henderson for his composed and excellent goalkeeping, Luke Shaw or Anthony Martial. One of the 3. Who do you think should be man of the match? I picked Luke Shaw, but for you,
it's difficult. I'll give it. Sorry, I know it's an easy question, but I just can't do it. I know
it's hard, but I gave it to him because the goal and also his all-round performance today, it was exceptional. And his performance warranted it.
What I'll say is I think all of them were absolutely brilliant. I thought Henderson, Shaw and Martial were brilliant. I'm going to give it to Martial today. And the reason for that is simply because he's been in such bad form recently. I think it's brilliant he put in a performance like this, but that doesn't take anything away from the world-class performance Luke Shaw put in and how good Henderson was as well.
Excellent. Alexi, thank you for coming on. He'll be the host, by the way, everybody, for the previews and the reviews for the Milan game. That's normally my job, but I've been drafted in to do a Europa League game somewhere. So he will be responsible for this week's show, both of them, and hopefully you can take care of him in my absence. Obviously, he's new to this, so we're trying to ease him into the role. But Alexi, top job, mate. We'll speak to you later this week, all right?
Yeah, cheers, Ahmed.
Take care, pal. All right, next up now, we have a very popular a very popular person on the Twitter feed. He's known as the Unofficial Pundit. He's made some interesting comments in the past, but I'm sure, like all of us, he's a very satisfied fan this afternoon. So let me introduce him to you all. Welcome. Lovely to have you on. It's a pleasure that you are here for a historic afternoon of football. I've seen you waiting patiently in our waiting room. First and foremost, how do you feel with that result?
I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing, but I'm frustrated. Reason why I'm frustrated is if you gave Ole the players he should have got in the summer, and a couple of horrible decisions like the Sheffield United game didn't go against us because they're blatant decisions. De Gea was fouled. It wasn't a foul on their goalkeeper when Martial scored. We could be top right now. It's things like that frustrate me. But especially the not giving Ole the players like Sancho. If you look at it, we signed 4 players this summer, or 5 players if you count, but Amad Diallo and that Pellistri. None of them are starters. Not one is a starter for Manchester United. Cavani, for me, shouldn't be a starter. He should be an impact player. Tellez ain't getting ahead of Luke Shaw, let's be totally honest. You got no chance of Tellez getting ahead of Luke Shaw. Donny van der Beek at the moment, listen, I like Donny as a player, but does he come into the Man United team and start? No. And then the 2 kids, they don't. So if I look at today's game and I look at the benches, it's like they're worlds apart. Like I don't know if you saw the stat come up on the side, the players who scored the most goals in the Manchester derby.
Mm-hmm.
Aguero and Rooney have 8 goals each at the top, and they had Aguero sitting on the bench today. They brought Carl Walker on, who I think. Listen, I said it. I can prove it on my Twitter. I said I pray Cancelo starts today. I don't get all the hype around him. I think he's a shit defender. I think he's half decent at dribbling. He's got less assists than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So he's not that great. He's got less goal contributions than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I hear people talk about Cancelo like as if like he's Cafu over the last 10 years. And I was happy Cancelo played. I think if Walker plays, it'll be a totally different game. Walker's so experienced, so fast, so strong. But these are the players they could bring off the bench. They brought Phil Foden off the bench. I'm pretty sure I didn't look at all their bench, but I'm pretty sure they must have had Bernardo Silva on their bench.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll have a look for you just to clarify, but keep going.
Bernardo Silva they must have had on the bench. They must have had Aymeric Laporte on the bench. Like, listen to the players. Some of these players would walk into most teams starting 11s.
Yeah, here we go. Walker, Foden, Stefan, the goalkeeper. You have Laporte, Mendy, Fernandinho, Bernardo Silva, Sergio Aguero, and Ferran Torres. So that is a bench with strengths, as you mentioned. And it was most of those players would start the game. But like you said, I was glad, like you were, to see Cancelo. When they played Mönchengladbach, the German team give more space. They don't really come at City the way they do. And it was a bit more of an open game for City to play. They had that area where he could drift into, and for the 2 goals he scores, he's drifting into that little hole inside either channel, left or right, and he hooks those balls into the back post. Each time he does that, suddenly people think, this is new. We found a way to exploit opposition like this by having someone in the channel hook the ball into the box. That's just one skill. As you stated today, defensively, he isn't the best to deal with the likes of Rashford or James even at points in the game. And I felt we could get at him today because the centre-back pairing, while they have been very strong in recent weeks, they showed frailties today which demonstrate there are things opposition teams have really missed that Ole has exposed them for today. I wanted to get your thoughts on that in particular. Obviously, I've seen some of your thoughts on the Twitter before about certain players in the team and whether they have been really committed to their cause the cause for United. What were your thoughts on today's performance? Was it 100% for you? Or was there still something lacking in that sense?
Well, number one, I'll be honest with you. After the Chelsea game and the Palace game, I was dreading this game today. I thought Cavani was going to start up front. If Cavani starts up front today, we lose. We probably lose 3-0. I'm not joking. I don't care who disagrees with me. That's a fact. If Cavani starts up front, he started most of our big games this season up front, and we've done nothing. We don't even score a goal. We know how bad our record is. The minute I saw, I think it was yesterday, it was announced that Cavani's apparently not playing. I've been buzzing since yesterday, and I said I believe we could listen. I even said we was going to win 3-1. Again, I got it on my WhatsApp. I have a WhatsApp group with my brother and my cousin and that, and we talk about everything before the game. All week we will talk. And I said I think we're going to win 3-1 because I believe if we started James as well, which I wanted us to, I really want James to start because of the pace, and we know City's fullbacks get forward. But I thought Martial today really, really showed how weak their centre-back pairing is, and all this Ruben Diaz. They've been talking about Ruben Diaz like he's won 5 Premier Leagues on the trot, and he's won the treble and things like that. They've just been going on and on about Ruben Diaz. He showed them both up today. They couldn't get close to him. He held the ball up so well. He's bringing the players into play. How many times did Martial spin and start running at them? And he's bringing the players into it. So many times.
So many.
Again, I said our defence, but if you want me to break down the performance, our defence, again, I thought was sensational. And this is why Ole goes with Lindelof over Bay. And this is why I say I don't blame our defence as much as other people do, because a lot of games, we just give the ball away. Silly. Today, when they can sit as a unit, and they did, and even for the first goal, Maguire was deep in their half. That's how we win. He did it with the ball back, Percy. That's how we win the ball back, and it leads to a penalty. That's from the off. Now, people say, Maguire's slow. He normally sits too deep. That's why we can't play. No, that wasn't the case today. The centre-backs were sitting really high. Sterling can't get the better of Wan-Bissaka, honestly. He must absolutely hate
23 matches against United. He hasn't scored. And I believe it's now 4 games against Wan-Bissaka. I think 4 to 5 games. And he's yet to really get a hold of him in any of those matches. Incredible, really.
And to be honest with you, today, I actually thought, and if you've seen my Twitter, you must know how much I love Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
I actually thought, I don't think Rashford was good today. I thought it was one of his worst performances. I just don't think he was good today. But I think he looks tired, and that's why he's ended up coming off with an injury. I don't think Rashford was good today. I don't think Bruno was very good today. And I actually thought, not being horrible, I thought Fred was the worst player on the pitch for us.
He did squander possession. I have to be honest with fans a little bit here. Fred and McTominay could have put a performance in, but I'm almost tearing my hair out at the amount of times somehow when receiving possession, Fred, when dealing with pressure, just cannot get the ball out of his feet, or, as I'm sure you're going to point out, he won't have been able to release the ball quickly enough or pass it to the nearest man. He makes these mistakes time and time again in games, but the reason Ole plays him is obvious. His work off the ball, his defensive positioning, and the ability to win it back. That's the simple stuff. Okay, good, you could do that. But it's a detriment of his game sometimes, and it does frustrate me as a fan, as I'm sure it does you as well, when you see that sort of like lack of concentration or focus on the target he's looking for.
Do you know what it is for me? At Manchester United, you need to be able to do a bit of both. And you definitely got to be good on the ball. And there was one time deep in the second half where Henderson plays it. Is it Henderson or Maguire play it to McTominay at the edge of our box? That spin he does with 2 players coming towards him was fantastic. Keeps hold of the ball. Another player comes towards him. He plays it to Fred. Fred gets it stuck under his own feet and he loses the ball. It's like he hasn't. And for a Brazilian, it's shocking that he hasn't got that. Don't get me wrong. There's other things to Fred's game. He's brilliant at breaking up play. There's a few times where he was good at that, but I just thought there was times where we could actually get at City. City looked terrible. We know City are going to have more of the ball. That's how City play. Anyone who thinks they're going to have more of the ball than City, they're living in a dream world. The only team that will match City for that is Barcelona. And Barcelona ain't even great at the moment. That's Barcelona's gameplay as well. Keep all the ball. So, but other than a few half chances, I don't remember City really troubling us. This will probably be... Oh, sorry.
Hit the bar once. I think, with Rodri's effort just at the start of the half before Luke Shaw put the second one in. That one is a moment that's tipped in my head. There's also the Foden opportunity when we were leading 2-0, when he had it on a swivel, and it was a really good turn, but he couldn't get the shot on target. I thought that was a chance. There was a couple that flashed across the box that I don't think that really threatened our goal. But in the general scheme of things, we've today got the better of Pep. We've won a game which normally people will say when United struggle, but that's 3 wins in a row at the Etihad against City.
Amazing.
Incredible. I don't think we've never done that to City for over 20 odd years or something like that. But yeah, very quickly, because again, 10 minutes nearly up. I wish I could talk more to you, but I need to get our next guest on shortly.
Of course.
Man of the match, I've got a pick of 3 between Henderson, Shaw, and Martial. Who would you pick out of those 3?
So I can't put Henderson in it or say him number 1, even though I thought he's fantastic. I'm sorry for anyone who disagrees. You clearly don't watch Manchester United. Henderson is doing the stuff we need to have to do. He just doesn't do. How many times did Henderson catch the ball today? How quick was he off his line today? It was so important. He was brilliant. I can't give it to him over Shaw and Martial. With those two, I absolutely love Luke Shaw. I've been sticking up for him for I don't know how long. Last season, I was getting so much abuse on Twitter, so much, even on Instagram. I have to today go with Martial, and the reason why I have to go with Martial, he hasn't been playing. He could have easily gone missing in this game today and just been terrible and end up getting subbed off. He didn't. He turned up and said, "You know what? I'm gonna make my mark today against Man City," and that's why I have to give it to him. I don't think, other than the miss, I couldn't believe he missed it. I was waiting for the flag to go off or something, hoping he was offside so that it wouldn't really matter. Other than the miss, I don't think he put a foot wrong today.
This is a game which should have ended 4-0. I honestly think the chances are something that annoys me as well. I mean, we could talk all night. All night. But yeah, Martial is your man of the match. I agree. He played fantastic today. And I'm hoping with the Rashford injury, it's not looking like... I pray it's nothing serious, by the way. He was hobbling off, but I think we might not see him on Thursday. So now our hopes rest on Greenwood and Martial being as clinical as they used to be last season. But again, thank you so much, Unofficial Pundit. Pleasure to have you on. We will have. I'm sure you're welcome on again at any time. But an absolute legend. If you want to follow him on the Twitter, his tag on our screen is his tag on the Twitter as well. Same on Instagram, as I believe. He is an absolutely incredible guy for Man United opinions and stuff like that. Some may be ludicrous, but you understand. He's got the club at heart, I promise you. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate you.
Cheers,
and I'll see you soon. Take care, pal. Fantastic gentleman he is, and a great honor to have him on our shows. Hope he'll be back hopefully soon to add some more views. Now, not views to our number, but views to the show, especially with that performance today. Now, coming up next is a good friend of the channel, and it's United Paper. We call him Perry. He's currently muted. There he is. And
hello.
He's sure a very happy man right now. How are you, Perry, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Really happy. How did you find it?
Honestly, pal, I gave it at the start of the game. The synopsis of the match was had a mixture of happiness and anger today. With all these big games, I never take a calm approach because sometimes it leads into a false sense of security with Man United. And today was a perfect example of that, where if I think in an opposite manner, I keep thinking we might have a bad run of luck today or something along those lines. I don't know. It's a right on shambles. But I want to just get it from you first of all, because for me it was an incredible performance and a well-earned hard-earned 3 points plus a clean sheet. How impressed were you today with Man United's performance against Man City? Because it is beyond belief what we've seen today.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy. The main thing what I'm really impressed with, what gets so much stick, is the defence. I read that we haven't conceded a goal for over 6 hours of game time. That's pretty impressive. Maguire, the haters are starting to quieten down a bit. He's been so good for us over the last 8 weeks. Shaw as well. Wow. We all envisioned Telles to be in this team, I think, when he first come in. But how do you drop Shaw? Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof was even good today. And I'm really happy with the team. I just think it's been a good team performance. They've all been fighting for each other. Solskjaer as well. He's the only man who stopped that 21-game run, isn't he?
28 unbeaten before today and 21 wins in a row for Manchester City. The last defeat trails back to the 21st of November, and it was against Spurs at White Hart Lane. That night was, for them, it was a big victory for Spurs as they were at the crest. They were just creeping in at the top of the table. But since then, obviously, there have been periods. You give credit to them where it's due. They have been, they have been really good in the last 2 months or 2.5 months. But today, we found out a lot about the team that a lot of opposition sides have struggled to solve against them. How did you view Ollie's setup for today's game, particularly the way, as I discussed with Unofficial Pundit just now, the way United set up today with that high line, compressing the two midfield to keep it as narrow as possible between the centre backs and them, so that there's no space for De Bruyne and co to work the ball into, and the attacking players, I think, for City were starved of the ball for large periods of the game. How did you essentially view that from your point of view?
Yeah, I was impressed. I've got to give him credit, because before the game, I really thought we was going to be. I just thought it was. We've been poor the last 6 weeks, and I thought we was going to get stuffed today. And whatever line that went there, I just thought we haven't been in good form. But yeah, that high line that kept them quiet all first half. It really did. They didn't really create much in the first half, and the high line worked. So I've got to give Ollie credit. We've been poor the last 6 weeks, and he's got to take the blame for that. But today is a great result. If I'm honest, I don't think any of us really expected to get 3 points before today's game. I know there's always a chance, isn't there? But the way City have been recently, they have literally just been unstoppable, and Ollie's got to take credit for it. It's a great result. It's 3 points. We're back to second. We're 9 points behind City. I still think the title is theirs to lose, but it's reaffirming our place in top 4, which in reality, before the end of last season, everyone said, no one really expected us to win the league this year, and everyone said we want to improve, and an improvement on third is second, and we all said we want to close that gap, what we've had the last couple of years of 20, 30 points behind the leaders. And that's exactly what we're doing this year.
I agree. It is a massive overturn in the gap we had. I think this time last year, we were in fact, near to the day that we beat City at Old Trafford, a similar scoreline to before the lockdown. That day, we were best part of 20-something points behind Liverpool and about 17 behind Manchester City. And that was already, for us, there was a huge gap, and we wouldn't even consider it then. But obviously, we finished the season strong after the restart and secured top 4. And here we are again, but this time we're in second place, having just beaten Manchester City. I honestly think, though, while this result was important, this was the ideal response to Leicester's victory yesterday against Brighton. The stroke of luck they had against Brighton at the very end, with the keeper missing it and Amati scoring. For them, it was a big stroke of luck. And it shows that really we cannot rest on our laurels, even while we are looking like we're not going to really catch Manchester City. I'm sure they have a game on Wednesday against Southampton. They will bounce back immediately. However, the true feeling around, I'm sure, among many fans is this game, hopefully, is the beginning of United's finish the season, where now they just stay strong, stay unbeaten, and not let teams as we saw against Chelsea and Arsenal on numerous occasions, and Liverpool for that matter, the other top 6 games, overrun United in the way that we think we thought they could.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, but I think we've been a lot more stubborn this year. We haven't lost as many games as we did last year, and I know we've drawn a lot, but it's still an improvement on losing the games last year. And we're still, even though we've been in bad form, we haven't really picked up any big losses, and we're kind of ticking by. And if we can build on this and then start gaining some win again, so the actual bad form that we went through isn't actually that bad in reality when you look back on it. Whereas last year, the bad form we picked up, we was also picking up a lot of losses, wasn't we? And conceding a lot of goals. I know we've had loads of 0-0s, but we're still not conceding. We're such a hard team to break down. As I said, stubborn we are. We're not easy to score against. We really aren't. I know we had the big Spurs loss, but ever since after that, we've just picked on, really.
That's 3 clean sheets in a row as well in the Premier League. Okay, nil-nils, of course, but that's 3 clean sheets in a row. So 6 hours of football have gone where Manchester United have not conceded in the Premier League. So again, I think that the defense do get a lot of slack sometimes for things that do happen. If for example, the Everton game, the Sheffield United game are a couple of examples where things have gone wrong, and it really does falls on the centre backs and Maguire and whoever plays alongside him. Sometimes they have taken a lot of flack this season, but what can you say basically to those who feel that the defense isn't good enough for Manchester United? Really, they are proving some doubters wrong at the moment.
Yeah, I think me and you both know we still do have some frailties in the defence. I don't think Maguire's ever going to get dropped. He's under Ollie anyway. He's Solskjaer's star signing. He's made him the captain, so he's here to stay. And whether people think he's not the best, it's kind of, we've got to accept that Maguire's going to be there, and the person who is going to get replaced is Lindelof. And I think we can all agree that we do need another centre back.
Absolutely.
Sure, wonders have come in since Tellez has been there. He's got a backup now. He can be rotated. I still think we could do with another right back for Aaron to have a bit of a replacement. We've all seen the replacements. Obviously, Aaron's has been linked, etc. But I think a centre back and a right back would really put this defence in such better position than what they're in. I don't know what you think, but I'd love to just, as much as I want a right winger, it'd be so nice to just have one CDM and then have Pogba and Bruno say right. Can you remember Prime Kante? It's just right, you guys do your thing. I'm holding this midfield. It would be so refreshing to have a player. And how would it nice to be to have Pogba and Bruno in that final third? Yeah,
in a dream scenario, with the right players, we'd be so much better, especially with, as you mentioned, Pogba and Bruno being allowed to have the freedom of the pitch to do whatever they wish. But reality is a bitch, Perry. So
yeah, you're right.
We can't get everything we want, but
I want to hear your. Do you think we're progressing? I know,
absolutely.
Or
Look, I get why fans are angry sometimes about why United are not progressing and the certain weaknesses that are demonstrated in games. But ultimately, this is not going to be something that gets fixed immediately. I said it when we went top of the league in January. I still think this is not a finished article, and I still think this is a team that's too far off winning the title. And this is after City started their winning run. So long before United even were top of the league, there was still the odd couple who thought maybe we're a little short in some case. And I was one of those because essentially the idea was this season is to overhaul the gap on Liverpool and City and stay close as possible to them without allowing them to run away with the title. We now have seen Liverpool losing 6 in a row at home and dropping, possibly with Tottenham playing shortly, dropping to 8th in the league. And we've kept it honest with Man City, even though it's double figures at the moment. We're still keeping them honest. We're still keeping them honest.
I'm exactly the same as you. I don't think it's a title-winning team, and I still think we're a few players away from it. But at the start of the season, I do think Ole's doing well. We're progress. If you progress at a snail's rate, then that isn't acceptable. But we are still making quite giant progressions on top of each year.
Yeah.
I know the season isn't finished, but if we do end up finishing second, and we've closed a big point gap, that's progression. And another thing, before the season started, we can't forget, is that this was arguably, or it's been touted as the Liverpool's team was one of the best Premier League teams ever. Chelsea come into the league, spending 250 million on 2 of the Bundesliga's hottest prospects, and City as well. Well, they're probably one of the greatest teams we've seen. And Ole's still got a second amongst all this, whether everyone's excuses of Chelsea need time to mix, and same with Liverpool. They've had lots of injuries. It is what it is. Like, you can only beat what's in front of you, and I think Solskjaer is doing well with the tools he's got, and I don't think it's fair to put him on the chopping board if we're still having a good amount of progression. Admittedly, it isn't what every fan wants, and I do get some of their reasons, but how can you sack someone for having such a big leap of progression year on year? Like, it's gonna, if it does plateau out eventually and we don't win anything and the same old, then yeah. But as it's going, we're doing, I think we're doing okay.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. There's been a lot of positives and negatives to look at this season, but we can obviously reflect on it when we get to May 29th, and by then we'll find out if Manchester United have made significant progress in terms of closing the gap, and then what happens. The summer, the Euros happen. The players, I'm sure, will still be absolutely exhausted from playing for their nations, for the European competitions. So that's taken into account. I'm a bit worried about that in particular, because this week, obviously, the South American qualifiers are cancelled due to the pandemic over there. So they've had all sorts of problems. So Cavani and Telles won't go back to South America. You also have with the European ones starting shortly, Marcus Rashford picking up an injury today. He's had the shoulder issue as well. You have players though that are still labouring a bit, and I'm sure they want this break to come sooner rather than later. But in your honest opinion, with Milan coming up on Thursday, just thinking to the immediate future, Milan is, for me, while this has been a big game, the next one for me is more important, because a trophy is essential to our success this season, our progress this season, is an essential tool to Oli to say he can now do more in the market, because I can prove this team can win trophies. We're going to come up now against second place in Serie A, and a team that today rested a number of players in terms of quality. How are you? Obviously, you had a wild prediction for our last European game, which came to fruition. So this time, what outcome are you aiming to see, and what are you expecting from the Italians on Thursday?
I think we're going to win. I really do. I think we're pretty good in Europe, and I think it's a lot different to the Premier League. Obviously, it's totally. I do think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a good test for the team, because AC have been doing pretty good this year. I know they've slowed up a bit recently, but they're not going to be a walkover. But I do think that, I think we've got enough. I do think the team that when this team does hit form, I think they're pretty good and they can beat most teams out there. It's just how we turn up on the day. I don't know what you think. Are you confident for the game? But yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think we'll get the win.
I'm very cautious with AC Milan, because in the past, obviously, they had such talented players. They had a great team, beat us on the way to winning the 2007 Champions League. This is technically a Champions League tie in the Europa League.
Definitely.
Because these two teams shouldn't really be here, but it will steal the headlines and all the attention for hopefully the right reasons, because we will see a real powerful football game, and I think we are hoping on our part that Oli gets the same sort of energy out of the team on Thursday night, and I'm hoping if we can do what we did to Sociedad, kill it off. We get players off the pitch. We move on to West Ham, which again is another huge game. It's the last Premier League game as well we have, because after that will be another Europa League 2, and then the Leicester game in the FA Cup before the break. So the next two games for me are a big litmus test for Man United, if they are to still to prove that they are in a hunt for a trophy this season and consolidating that second place further. But like I said, this team have made progress this season. We're steadily moving towards that mark where we can say they have made sufficient progress, but we just have to see it through now rather than ensure anything at the moment.
I agree. I think he has to really get a bit of silverware this year. I think if he doesn't get any silverware and he gets second and it's a bit of a closer gap, he probably keep his job. But I think if we get third and no silverware, similar position to last year, I still don't think they'll get rid of him because it's Champions League football. But I think he's going to have a lot of critics if we don't get any silverware and same position as last year. I do think he will come under a lot of scrutiny. But I think if Ole can get second and bag something, that's promising, I'd say. But I don't know what you think, but I think this team needs a cup now. It's kind of leveled out, I think, over the last few years, and I think it needs that cup to bring that extra bit of what we're missing. Because I think if we're not careful, if we don't get anything again this year, we're going to start having that mental block of trophy, and I think we just need to get that out the way of whatever it is. Even if it's the FA Cup or the Europa, I think the team needs it to get that out of their heads, if that makes sense.
Well, United need to win 3 games to win the FA Cup, and to win the Europa League, they need to win 7. So,
wow,
it's
I still think we were
tricky.
hard done by last season, Ahmed. That's a
Oh,
I know I'm
man.
going back, but that was one of the best performances I've seen us play to this day under Solskjaer.
Yeah.
I know we lost to Sevilla, but I thought we played so well that game.
Sevilla that night proved to me what United will have a bit of a lack for in the European game. And that is, when it comes to the big moments, you have to take them. When they equalised, Suso scored the equaliser that night, and United let that ball, which everyone hates, coming into the box, and the defenders all miss it before it popped in the back post. United suddenly looked a different team to how they started the game. We went in front, of course, and then the equaliser. But now, I'm starting to think if we had this sort of performance against them that night, we go on to play Inter in the final, and Inter Milan, as defensive as they looked, wouldn't have been able to handle having a play against a fitter team, also a very good on the front foot, and with nothing to lose, more importantly.
I agree.
Whereas that night, it just showed that because of it, the fact it was such a long season, there wasn't a lot of resting time between the end of the Premier League season and the start of the competition. We had a lot of problems. We also had moments in the game. That game against Sevilla in the second half, particularly where the goalkeeper made some really good saves, but the chances you take on a good day as well. So
another thing, I don't want to pick him out because he had a really good game today, and I do like him. He's one of my favourite players. But I do think with Martial, I think he is a clinical player, but if you look at the top strike, top number 9s like Haaland and stuff, those chances what we get at United, we don't create as many chances as Liverpool's and City's. And those chances, like the one at 2-0 today where we could have buried the game, the Martial chance, we see too many of them, I think, of these chances, what we rue and look back on, and we think, oh, if he only just scored that. And it was a similar one in the Champions League, and it was like, if we got that, we'd go through. And I do think we need another number 9 who is more clinical, and those chances what we do get. I do like Tony, and I do want him to do well, and I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't think he is as good enough and takes those chances what we need. I don't know what you think.
Personally, I don't want all of our money to go on Haaland or Sancho. As you stressed earlier, we still have holes in the team that need filling. And
yeah, for sure. I'm not saying replace him this summer. I'm just saying, like, for this team to progress in a few years, I don't think Martial is the
right person.
9.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, I still see elements of his game where he can be good, and that's the hot part of him, but he can go cold. And the days he goes cold are the days United don't do well, because he then becomes the focal point of everything, as he was against Sheffield United and in recent fixtures as well, whenever he's played. Hence why last week at Chelsea he was dropped and also dropped for the Crystal Palace game. So in those, he was injured. Sorry, he was injured for the Palace game, but still, even
I
in that
wouldn't want to
scenario,
sell. Martial isn't a player I'd want to sell because he has definitely got that potential in him. But I just think he would, if we had a real world-class number 9, he would be a great person to rotate with and bring on and to coincide with someone who is just that a bit. I think he is clinical and he doesn't miss many chances, but I just don't think he's that deadly striker. Like if you look at the Haalands, the Van Nistelrooys, the players like that, they are just so deadly in front of goal. It's just like, and look at Aubameyang, like his build-up play and the rest of his game is questionable, but when he gets a chance, 9 times out of 10, that's going in the back of the net. And I think if we had that, we would be just that little bit better off.
I don't think United would. I know they would. Trust me, in a world where COVID doesn't exist, they would.
That is a crazy United signing where we're all screaming out, we need centre-back, we need CDM, we need right wing. And that is so like United to go, right, we're getting Kane and we're going to bring 2 loan players in or something.
That's the basic element of it here, because the stories are all, we can only make one marquee signing, we can only do so much, but alas, look, we can only hope.
I don't know what you think, but I think we're going to go back in for Sancho, and I think we'll get a second or third choice centre back. That's my gut feeling anyway. I think they'll go back in for Sancho. I really do.
We have to wait and see, Perry. I really don't know what to expect, but it's Milan first.
Yeah,
West
fingers
Ham
crossed,
after.
mate. What's your score prediction anyway?
Oh, it's too early for me. Mate,
Really?
I don't think I can call it. I want to call it, but I don't want to. The reason why is because let's just say tonight I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy tonight, and then I'll watch Milan. I'll watch their game against Inter. I'll watch their last 2.
Don't let today's performance cloud it, because we have been pretty poor the last 6 weeks, and that is totally United of how it has been the last few years. Like so unexpected. And so in the last few City games, we've gone in there literally like not a chance in hell, and we've come out somehow smelling of roses. And if we turn up Thursday as we do on our top, we'll beat most teams. But we don't know what we're going to get, do we?
We don't know at all. So that's why I can't call it. So, like I said, enjoy tonight, as I'm sure
definitely,
you will too.
Great result.
Fantastic. Again, I've asked everyone else. You're man of the match tonight. I've given the choice of 3 between Henderson for the clean sheet and his overall dominance of the penalty area. Solid performance from him. Luke Shaw for the goal and his all-round performance today, and Anthony Martial, because not only was he nominated Sky's man of the match, but also he genuinely played a very good game.
Yeah,
won the penalty.
Have a very good game.
Chances are plenty, but yeah, 1 of 3: Hendo, Shaw, or Martial.
It's Shaw. It is for today's game. I thought he was awesome, but it's also for this season. Like, he's proved me wrong. I honestly thought he needed to be replaced by Tellez, and I'll hold my hands up. And I'm so happy that he's proven me wrong, because he has been sublime this season, and he is the player we got from Southampton, but better. And defensively, he's been awesome. And I'm just so happy for him. I am, like, Shaw all day. Great player, and he deserves all the plaudits.
Well, you agree with me because he's in my banner at the bottom. But Perry, I appreciate you turning up today.
It's been good, mate. Let's enjoy it. It's a great result.
Absolutely.
Let's keep this positivity.
This Sunday evening is a good one. Yeah, this Sunday evening will be a good one.
Definitely.
I'm probably going to get drunk on lemonade because I can't drink alcohol. But it's the closest thing I have. There it is, lemonade.
No, enjoy it.
Thank you, Perry. Much
cheers,
love to you, pal.
Yeah.
And I'll speak to you soon, Pete. Till the next one.
Ahmed. Bye, mate.
See you soon.
Bye.
Okay, so that is that, everybody. What a fantastic evening. Quickly, my quick synopsis on the game, because I've given questions aplenty. One more time before we sound off. Manchester United, fantastic performance this afternoon to secure 3 points against Manchester City. Again, a huge catalyst, I hope, leading us on to a strong league finish in the season. We're 11 points off of them now, so that's too far away. But in the grand scheme of things, what we are looking at here is progression. We are seeing Manchester United now steadily getting back to their best. 3 clean sheets in a row as well, so 6 hours without conceding a goal. We didn't really have much of the ball, but they dominated the game, did the blue side. I think we struggled as well to really keep them at points in the match at bay, at arm's length. But an admirable thing about today's game was the compactness of Ollie's shape and how he kept United organised and very, very well communicated as well. So many players in this team before who have been in systems that have failed again, and they've been to City and managed to squeeze a result or two under Mourinho and Van Gaal, for example. Those victories against City were ones we really had to sit on the back foot for. So, like the Rashford one in 2016, we sat back for a long time, and sure enough, it led to us winning the game. But I didn't like it that day. Even though we won, it didn't feel right. And we still, in the end, it didn't help us in our courses to get into the top 4. The Mourinho games have only seen us beat them twice when he was manager. And the 2 times we beat them was when it mattered, when they needed to win the title, and in the Carabao Cup. I think the other times were in 2016-17, we drew and we lost. 17-18, the one win, we lost at Old Trafford. And then before he was sacked in 18-19, he was soundly beaten 3-1 at the Etihad, where City were really, really good at the time. But today, Ollie did something different to what he did last season. It's the same team, in fact, that played against City last season. The only difference is no De Gea this time. He's gone and become a father, and congratulations to him for the birth of his young daughter, and to Adun as well. But also, he was out, Henderson in, Lingard out, Fernandes in. And it shows that even with those 2 players not being there, that's the same team that won 2-1 there last season. A great performance all round from the lads. Great opening minute from United as well, pushing City back immediately, winning the penalty for Martial with tenacity and driving into the box, forcing the mistake from Jesus, and then Fernandes slotting it home. It looked a bit close, but Ederson got there. Second goal, though, is the pick of the bunch. It's the pick of the goals. That one from Luke Shaw, when he picks up the ball from Henderson's throw, darts forward past Cancelo, and he gets to the penalty area before Rashford is available to him. Plays a 1-2 with Rashford, and he's surrounded by 3 City players. But somehow he manages to, through an eye of the needle, sneak the ball through and roll it into the corner, rooting the goalkeeper who never moved. Terrific performance, terrific goal by Luke Shaw. He's been in incredible form the last 3 to 4 months for Manchester United. And today he has deserved this performance and the man of the match for me. Ultimately, Martial got it, but you can't ignore Martial's overall contribution to the game. And it shows that, yes, he can be hot and cold sometimes. But when he's hot, he's brilliant. He really does put in an incredible shift. He bullied Soda Diaz, for God's sake, at a point in the game. Just get off me. But one criticism I have, one of the we brought out when unofficial pundit was on, was the inability of Fred's possession retention. He needs to keep the ball a little better, even get against the pressure as well. It's a simple thing to deal with. And the other was chances. We took 2 of them today, but we could have won by more in the way we attacked this game. Rashford could have shot. Anthony Martial's effort when he was 1-on-1 with the keeper following when City all thought the flag was going to go up. He had that chance. He could have scored it. We had opportunities, so many counter-attacking opportunities today, which, if the right decisions were made, could have led to us running away with this game. But ultimately, that didn't happen. And, you know, it's a game that will still live long in the memory. I won't forget it. I will still remember the game brilliantly for the performance the boys put in. And the clean sheet as well. Big shout out as well to Dean Henderson today, because he stepped up big time. It's a huge run of games for him now. The next 5, this match against Milan on Thursday, then onwards and upwards to West Ham and then the second leg. Because for him, while David is in Spain, obviously he's still eligible to play for United. It's a big responsibility for him that's resting on his shoulders now, and I'm hoping he takes it with both hands. Finally, of course, yes, on to Milan. Now, obviously, I'm not doing the preview, but a quick idea of what they will provide. It's for sure the hardest game United have played in Europe, and Hendo was class. That's our man Robbie, who sadly isn't with us today. He'd have been on the show if he was available, but Hendo was class, and a big shout out to him as well. He's responsible for all this and part of the idea of setting this all up. So thanks to Robbie as well. Also, before I forget, I need to remember this. We are partnered today, and greatly so, by somebody who I need to make sure I don't get this wrong. A designer who makes some lovely little phone covers, and I believe it goes and designs with Man United pictures. I just need to make sure I don't miss it because I want to shout him out. Gotta give him some love. He'll come on the podcast in the future, I promise. There we go. So it is. There we go. If you follow Dan Designs GB on Twitter or on Etsy, you can go on his website now. Get some designs. There's some great stuff. Man United designs there. You can hang on your wall, and if I had enough right now, I'd go and buy 3 of them to stick on behind me. But yeah, go and get them. There's a nice little 50% discount if you use the code Trafford Talk, all capitals, and it's a brilliant stuff. If United isn't your taste, he's got a lot of other ones too, sports based particularly. I literally can't take my eyes off some of them. I so really want to get my hands on them one day. So yeah, follow him on Twitter and have a look on his site for some great designs, some great pictures of Man United players or Trafford in particular. It's some great stuff. So yeah, Trafford Talk code 15% off if you want some. But yeah, quickly, Milan on Thursday. They didn't have Hernandez today. They didn't have Kessie. They didn't have Ibrahimovic, who's apparently injured. But that's not a given. Diogo Dalot scored today against Hellas Verona. They are starting to rebuild their form, having lost to the leader of the title race to Inter Milan. They're looking like a good team again. But the ultimate goal for them is to win a European trophy because they have nothing else to play for other than this and the league and the Europa League. So for us, this is a game where, as much as they have nothing to lose, we have a bit more to lose because this match is important in our scheme of moving, in the scheme of progression and trying to keep this good run of form going, particularly in Europe. Because even though we lost against Leipzig and PSG and Istanbul in the group stage, please don't remind. Okay, we lost 3 times in the group stage. Okay, in Europe we've been all right. Let's say that we play differently in Europe than we do in the Premier League. So on to Thursday, it's a massive game. And as always, to all those guests who have been on the show today, I thank them greatly. This is a pilot. We are encouraging the StreamYard link to be used by anyone and everyone, home fans or away fans, whenever the game takes place. On Thursday evening, I will not be here. I have to do something elsewhere. I'm very annoyed. I wish I could do that game. But Alexi, who you saw at the start of the show, is taking my spot for the preview and the review on Wednesday and Thursday. So please make sure to follow us on Twitter to find out more, and also to go on YouTube and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because our stuff doesn't come up very often. But make sure to do those 2 things so you can find out when we're live on the Great Old Trafford Talk podcast channel. But beyond that, it is enough for me. I need to just down my lemonade and relax for a bit. I'm sure whatever you guys have, maybe stronger than what I have. But do enjoy tonight, because United beat City. Manchester is red tonight. And the only thing that really dampened the mood is another pandemic starting. I hope not, of course. But till the next one, everybody, please take care of each other. Stay safe out there. Hit the like and subscribe button as well on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter as well. Share this out. Some great opinions on today, and I hope to share more of them with you when I come back next week. Alexi will be here this week. But thank you all. Take care and good night.